thing Democrats did this year was finding their patriotism again. If you told me a year ago that if Kamala Harris would be the nominee and in her acceptance speech, she would use the word privilege.
Kamala Harris under fire. Bill Maher's brutal response goes viral. It's the scandal that's lighting up every screen from Capitol Hill to the Hollywood Hills. Kamala Harris under fire, and none other than Bill Maher stoking the blaze with a takedown that has gone ferociously viral. What really happened? Why is Maher risking political friendships to call out his own party's rising star? And is there more to this controversy than meets the eye? Buckle up, because this story just keeps twisting.
Something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years.
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
No bueno. No.
The controversy began when Kamala Harris delivered what was meant to be an empowering speech on patriotism and privilege. Her words were carefully chosen, or so her team thought. She praised the Founding Fathers, referring to them as the Gen Z of their day, acknowledging their youth and bold vision. She dared to touch the word privilege, using it not as a scold, but as a challenge to today's generation to make something of their freedom. But instead of applause, whispers of doubt crept into political corners.
Was finding their patriotism again. If you told me a year ago that if Kamala Harris would be the nominee and in her acceptance speech, she would use the word privilege, I would not have guessed that she used it the way she did.
And that's when Bill Maher, never one to let an opportunity for brutal honesty slip away, unleashed a monologue that scorched more than just the airwaves. On Real Time with Bill Maher, he lit into Harris and the Democratic establishment, accusing them of being two-faced about their love for America. His scathing remarks drew gasps across the political spectrum.
Protest and chant, hey, hey, ho, ho, followed by something really stupid. Yeah, Constitution Day was last week. It's an actual federal holiday, but no one noticed despite the fact that
Maher started by sarcastically applauding the Democrats for finally finding their patriotism again. If you told him last year that Harris would talk about American privilege in such glowing terms, he joked, he'd have laughed in disbelief. But here it was. Awkward, clashing rhetoric from a party he claims has spent years teaching young Americans to distrust their own country.
we're all white men, as depicted in this illustration from Google AI. But how about looking at the actual ideas in it?
And Maher wasn't done. He accused Kamala Harris of hypocrisy, saying one thing while her actions and silences screamed another. The vice president's words about national pride didn't land with younger voters, Maher argued, because they see through the act. They know when someone's playing both sides. But then the segment took a sharp, almost chilling turn.
The only place in the world where a white guy from the suburbs could become a millionaire rapper, because here every person, regardless of race, class, or gender, has the right to be talent-free.
Maher dug deeper into what he called a toxic legacy being handed down from older Democrats to the youth, a legacy of resentment toward America itself. He cited shocking statistics. Only 14% of 8th graders proficient in history, 22% in civics.
Here and tell you what the choices are. Kamala Harris, vice president, will get all of Biden's campaign money, and on the Democrats' best issue, abortion, she's a walking reminder to women that Republicans are coming for the abortion pill.
4 out of 10 Gen Zers view the Constitution's framers as villains. This is where the suspense thickened. Was Maher merely roasting politicians? Or was he warning of a cultural time bomb that could fracture the nation from within? The viewers, politicians and citizens alike, were left rattled. The message, this isn't just about Kamala Harris.
She is Plan B. That she supported providing taxpayer-funded change operations to illegal immigrants in prison.
This is about the future of American identity itself. Maher didn't let Gen Z off the hook either. He scorched the younger generation for laziness in forming their views, accusing them of parroting bitterness passed down by professors and TikTok pundits without investigating deeper truths. With the world's knowledge at their fingertips, They chose outrage over understanding.
With all of his flaws, he's still better than far-left insanity. And the voters' big doubt about Kamala is, are you part of far-left insanity? This is Kamala's great dilemma. Trump is invulnerable to an October surprise, but she is very vulnerable because she's the one who is...
But it was Maher's blistering comparison to America's founders that left the room icy cold. In 1776, the Founding Fathers were barely older than today's college students. James Monroe was 18, Alexander Hamilton, 21, James Madison, 25. They started a country. And Gen Z? What have they done? Maher sneered. The line shot across social media like wildfire.
I would not have guessed that she used it the way she did. America's founders, they were the Gen Z of their day. And when they were your age, they started a country. What the fuck have you done?
Then came the darker insinuation. Maher warned that idealizing moral purity could be dangerous, blinding the youth to the ugly complexities of history. He dared to mention slavery, a moral abomination, yes, but also a widespread institution of its time, practiced worldwide and even by African empires glorified in modern films. The silence in the studio was suffocating.
Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no fingers.
Yep.
Now, I like Kamala.
Maher wasn't just pointing out historical ironies. He was hinting at a conspiracy of ignorance, one perpetuated by educational institutions, politicians, and media influencers who simplify history into good versus evil for easy consumption. And Kamala Harris, he implied, had become a pawn or a willing player in this dangerous game.
I think Kamala Harris would make a great president of a university. Not that she's a bad person or a bad candidate or she's smart, but, you know, it didn't work. And by the way, if she does, there would be...
The real suspense? Maher wondered aloud what hidden mistakes today's generation is making. Errors no one will see until history's harsh mirror reflects them. But the story wasn't over. Maher turned the lens outward, calling out protest movements that romanticize oppressive foreign regimes while trashing America.
In 1776, James Monroe was 18. Alexander Hamilton was 21 and James Madison 25. Joe Biden was only 30.
He mocked their ignorance of the freedoms they enjoy. Freedoms the Constitution guaranteed from day one. Freedoms lacking in Gaza, Russia, or China. His warning: be careful what you wish for. You might get it. But the most chilling moment was this. Maher accused today's Democratic leaders, Harris included, of knowing better, of seeing the danger but staying silent. Why? To court Gen Z's vote? To ride the woke wave?
The Constitution isn't perfect because it wasn't written by Taylor Swift, but... And yes, the founders made excruciating compromises. Obviously, slavery.
He left that question hanging, pregnant with implication. Backlash was immediate. Liberal pundits cried betrayal. Progressive activists labeled Maher a boomer apologist. But others secretly, quietly admitted he had a point. Some Democratic insiders whispered fears of a party cracking under the strain of generational divide.
So there would have been two countries. And then to end slavery in North America, it would have involved invading a sovereign nation instead of having the moral high ground of keeping a union together. Would that have been better? History's complicated, and Gen Z reasoning is not.
Meanwhile, the right pounced. Conservative commentators praised Maher for finally speaking the truth. Republican operatives circulated the clip in fundraising emails. On social media, the video shattered records, shared millions of times, igniting arguments and speculation.
We also know other things. Like how in 1776, slavery was a lot like flying private today. If you could afford to, you would have done it too. Everybody did it, of all races, throughout history, in the Bible, and all.
But here's where the suspense curdles into something darker. Rumors began to swirl. Why was Maher so fierce? Was he simply tired of his party's double talk? Or had he learned something more? An unspoken scandal? A whisper campaign within the DNC to sideline Harris? Political watchers dug for clues, wondering if Maher was tipping off a deeper plot. And the White House? Silent. Uncomfortably silent.
If you hate George Washington for slavery, are you prepared to hate the woman king? Because her empire was built on it too. And where do you imagine is this place outside of your brilliant, pure mind?
Kamala Harris's team issued a tepid statement praising free speech, but ignoring Maher's direct accusations. Insiders claimed tension in the West Wing, staffers arguing behind closed doors about how to handle the PR fallout. Some even suggested that Harris's 2028 ambitions might now be in jeopardy. One source hinted darkly at a political hit job, suggesting Maher was being fed dirt from rival camps within the Democratic Party.
That's so much better than America. At least America self-corrects, a mechanism for which was actually written into the Constitution. The citizens of Gaza cannot assemble in protest of their own government, cannot do or say what they want, or practice whatever religion they want.
Was this all a warning shot to Harris from enemies inside her own tent? Or was Maher acting alone, firing a final salvo of frustration at a party he believes is losing its soul? The suspense hangs heavy, because this isn't just political theatre, it's a power struggle with real stakes.
For everything that makes life good, for the very people who hate them so much. It's so easy to take for granted individual liberty, a Bill of Rights, the rule of law, checks and balances, getting a trial by jury.
The Democratic Party's future direction, the Gen Z voter base, even the 2028 presidential race, it's all in play. And Maher's viral takedown may have cracked the fragile facade wide open. As America watches, wondering what comes next, one truth stands clear. The battle for the nation's soul isn't over. It's just beginning.
The cops are flawed, but we're not a police state. The drinks don't make you go blind, and no one pushes you out of a window for a bad Yelp review. Our government takes a lot and fucks up a lot, but it also gives a lot. Healthcare, retirement.
And somewhere in the shadows, the real puppeteers, the donors, the strategists, the silent kingmakers, are adjusting their plans. Will Kamala Harris weather this firestorm? Or is this the first spark in a blaze that will consume her political career?
Then we don't have to worry about her running, because it's hard to get rid of your running mate that you ran with last time, but if you don't run, then that kind of goes out with you.
I sat down with her ahead of the election, and she said this whole election is going to be about democracy and abortion rights. And people looked at those comments and said, what's she talking about?
Only time will tell. What do you think? Is Bill Maher exposing uncomfortable truths or fueling division for ratings? Is Kamala Harris a victim of party infighting or the architect of her own downfall? Comment below with your thoughts. Let's get this debate started. And don't forget to subscribe for more shocking political drama, celebrity scandals, and inside scoops you won't hear anywhere else.